Just doesn't resolve.
My name is Ethan Psycho, and this is my 5th year studying music technology at Montana State University, and I'm writing a musical piece based on the sounds from the Ringing Rock Formation. And so I would take recordings of these ringing rocks and make a musical piece based on those recordings, and then map different aspects of the sound in that piece to photographs that I've taken of the ringing rocks. As time goes through the piece, different aspects of sound will augment or sort of shift the photographs in strange and unique ways. So it sort of is like a visual representation of what you're hearing. The Epitaph of Siklos is a really interesting piece of music because, one, it was one of the first ever written pieces of music, especially set to lyrics. The definition of music is changing, and this isn't by any means a new thing. I mean, people have been designing and making new instruments and sounds since Siklos. The human condition has always kind of been the same, and as Siklos put it on his wife's tomb, "As long as you live, shine. Let nothing grieve you beyond measure, for your life is short, and time will claim its toll." In ancient Greek times, they had a different system for tuning, and so a lot of the notes kind of sound a little off or just a little wrong, and that doesn't mean that they are. It's just a different tuning system that's based in a different sort of sequence. The ringing rocks are sometimes tuned in weird pitches that are quarter tones or partway between what we think of as like an A and an A sharp. It's always fun guessing like which rock you're going to hit next and see what kind of resolution that's going to give you. I wonder. Ooh. Okay, this is a good experiment here. That's got a tone right now, but it's loose. It's sandwiched in between these two rocks. Pull it out. Still does. Huh. It's an interesting specimen. I was under the impression that if it wasn't attached to the overall pile, that they wouldn't ring properly. But that one has a pretty good tone just on its own.
So what I can tell you about the ringing rocks is that they're very, very unique, and there's been several discussions on why a rock will either ring or not ring when you remove it from the pile. Some people say, when you take them off, they stop ringing, and that's part of their magical properties. Or is it just that you have rocks that are in contact with each other? When you increase the surface area of that contact, it's going to not ring, or at least ring less, or maybe with a different frequency. Normally when you weather olivines and amphiboles and pyroxenes, you get a lot of dirt, essentially. And without that, we just have rocks being put on top of rocks without anything in between them. And I believe that's really what makes the ringing rock special. is that it's not necessarily the composition of the rocks themselves, it's how the rocks are in contact with each other. It's not one process that creates these rocks, otherwise we'd have these rocks everywhere around the world. It has this whole series of events that's happened over 76 million years to generate this outcrop that produces these very special tones within these rocks.
As time goes on and we get more technology that can allow us to do interesting things with sound, it's sort of changing the game for music and what we can do. We're making sounds and timbres now that human ears have never heard before. You're taking sounds that sometimes are fairly dissonant and a little harsh, but then if you use them in subtle ways and if you get really creative with the different sorts of things that you can do with sound, you can really create some beautiful things.